Manchester United 2, Liverpool 1. A surprising result to many, but when you break it down, not actually that surprising. Football is naturally a fickle thing. It's turned into hot takes on Twitter and recency bias. And that includes me. We're all guilty of it. United get outplayed by Brentford and Brighton, and all of a sudden they're the worst team ever, because they are. But people are talking about finishing 15th and 14th. Beat Liverpool 2-1 at home, and all of a sudden Liverpool are out of the title race. Ten Hag has got United cooking again. And we'll forget about all the owner protests, because United now have 3 points and a shiny new toy from the owners. Woohoo! Hello, Casemiro. That's a lot of money for an old man. Now, United were good in this game. They were much better than Liverpool and they deserved to win the game. I'm not disputing that. But there's just a couple myths around this game and also some wider context that I'd like to address, because I think we all just need to calm down just a little bit. The first one being that Lisandro Martinez has proved anything more than he's a competent professional footballer. The centre forward he had to contend with here was Firmino. I don't know about you, but when you see the two team sheets come up, and you've got Martinez and Firmino, I didn't really see a problem for Martinez. What's Firmino going to do? He's been off it for years, quite frankly, and I don't know why he's still there. Liverpool seriously need a shaker move like Pep has done with City. Now, the one goal that Liverpool do score comes from a corner, a second ball in from a corner, and Martinez is in front of Mo Salah, who Mo Salah heads it home. Martinez turns his back. He just turns his back on it, turns the wrong way somehow, and essentially moves out the way. The small, aggressive Argentinian shies away from the ball and lets Liverpool score. Essentially, I'm not going to be convinced. He could be a good player. Martinez probably is a good player, but I'm not going to be convinced he can do it here until we've had more of a case study against teams like Brentford who actively plan to prey on his weaknesses, like Ivan Toney did. The jury's still out. I'm going to wait till I see a couple more games like that until I can be convinced that he's not just simply way too small for this league. What happened in this game really has nothing to do with the two previous games. He didn't have the same issue this game, not because he did anything better. It was because Liverpool didn't set out to prey on that particular weakness. Because they couldn't, because Nunez wasn't playing. The second problem I've had with this game and the fallout of this game is that Ten Hag remotely deserves any credit or conviction for leaving out Harry Maguire and Ronaldo. Is it conviction if you do it in the third game, after in pre-season, clearly, obviously and publicly want away Ronaldo, leaves early from a pre-season game? Okay, so Ten Hag goes, you know what, I'm the new boss, I gotta put a stamp on it, gotta stamp my authority, I'll bench him for the first game. Well done. Goes 2-0 down in the first game, brings Ronaldo on. That's not conviction. He then starts Ronaldo in the second game. They lose 4-0. Now, Harry Maguire has been a problem, and Ronaldo, to be honest, going back for the past 12 months. Is it conviction finally dropping them in the third game after you've embarrassingly lost the first two? I don't think you deserve props for that. Literally everyone has been saying that for the past 12 months. Now, he deserves credit for how United set out to play the game. They were very good on the counter-attack against Liverpool. That's all fine, but he doesn't get credit for dropping Ronaldo and Maguire. That's not conviction. It's the opposite. The next point is about the general meltdown surrounding this entire game. Manchester United are not suddenly better than Liverpool. I find it hard to view this game in any other context than it being an anomaly due down to unforeseen circumstances surrounding the squad. There was nothing in this game that suggested that if Nunez didn't get sent off against Crystal Palace and could play this game, that Liverpool couldn't get at least a draw. I think if Nunez could play this game, I reckon he preys on Martinez, and I think it's a different outcome. And I don't rate Nunez. Every goal he scores is like almost by accident. He like finishes it, but it bounces off like the wrong part of his body or off onto someone else and back to him. So I'm not convinced about Nunez, but they're going in the net, and that's all that matters at this point. There's nothing I've ever seen from Martinez or Varane which suggests to me Nunez couldn't do it against them. Liverpool were bad in this game. They were really, really bad. Playing Firmino in the middle, at number 9, I looked at the heat maps, he was essentially playing in the same position as Luis Diaz. They were trying to lump the ball up long to Firmino half the time, so he could try and head it down to someone else and get the ball further up the pitch. They were just losing the ball at that point. He can't do it. Liverpool were also absolutely spamming crosses that game. They made 23 crosses. Trent Alexander-Arnold was honking yesterday, especially defensively, but his forward crosses were awful as well. He made 11 and only completed 4. Not great, especially when Firmino is the one on the end of it. Liverpool's starting midfield was James Milner, Jordan Henderson and Harvey Elliott. Now, Harvey Elliott was good. He looks quite good, to be honest. He was very promising. He was quite forward-thinking with the ball. Good player. I don't know what you're expecting from that midfield three, though. As soon as the two Liverpool substitutes, Carvalho and Fabinho, come on, the game shores up a little bit for Liverpool, and they get a goal. If they had started from the beginning, who knows? That maybe the game would be a completely different spectacle, or a similar spectacle, but probably harder for Manchester United to score on the counter-attack, and Liverpool a bit shored up in midfield and could start from a better base. So essentially what I'm saying, it's an anomaly because it was a combination of United preying on Liverpool having a weak starting 11 due to players being out, either suspended or injured. And talk about fine margins, Liverpool could have easily had 2 extra goals because Martinez and Bruno, both United players man of the matches, could have easily both hammered home 2 own goals each. By sheer luck, it's that they didn't. So all in all, I don't think we've learned anything particular spectacular or new about Manchester United yet. There's absolutely no reason to believe they've turned a corner or it's a new era or anything's different at all. They do this every season. They either start off well or badly. They'll have a bad period. They'll get a big shiny new signing from the Glazers, so the protests just get pushed further down the line. And then it will sort of be like that throughout the season and ultimately end up finishing in an average place after an average season. And there's still lots of underlying problems which will never get resolved because the owners are who they are and I want them to stay there. Trust me. I have thoroughly enjoyed this since we won the FA Cup in 2011. But I struggle to see any way that the cycle is yet to be broken. Now, the state of Liverpool is an odd one. I've often seen Liverpool fans boast that they've got the best goalkeeper, the best backup goalkeeper, the best centre-back, the best full-backs, the best midfielder, the best striker, the best front three in general. I've heard them say they had the best midfield, which is insane. And also people were on about, incredible squad depth. All of a sudden, they've got terrible squad depth. How does that work? Essentially, Liverpool were very lucky with injuries and absences last year. That's pretty much it. And maybe luck isn't on their side this time. That's football. But to write them off now, so early on, is at everyone else's peril. City, my team, we were a fake 15 or 18 points clear last year. I mean, there was 3 games in hand, so that's just not quite true. And all of a sudden, Liverpool had come back and they finished 1 point behind us. It's so early on in the season to write Liverpool off now when the core of the team is essentially the same and they've missed Mane, but they have got a £100 million striker in, so, swings and roundabouts. I still think they're finishing second. Unless the injuries pertain and it really is brutal throughout the whole season, I still think they're the best of the rest and they'll probably finish second. They do, however, clearly need a proper general refresh and, they need Bellingham. Everyone says they need Bellingham and yeah, they need Bellingham now and not next summer. But they need a shake and move, like I mentioned earlier, like Pep has done with City. How James Milner is still there, I do not know. Joe Gomez, he's not good enough. He's not good enough for what Liverpool need. Is Jordan Henderson good enough? He's the captain. Maybe he could probably stay around the squad. But they need a complete refresh. They need to push some players out. Firmino needs to go. It's just so obvious it needs that refresh. And it's probably a combination of Klopp being quite loyal to some players who have been good for him, but also the ownership just not wanting to spend too much money, which I get because it's a lot of money and it's their money. But at the same time, it's not the fans' money. And if you want to compete, you have to invest. That's how it works. And they will have money. They just won't want to spend it. But all in all, I think ultimately what will end up happening is that it will have evened out by the end of the season. I don't think we can take too much from this game, apart from United fans can enjoy it and Liverpool fans can be frustrated at the current state of their squad. If you've enjoyed this, please consider subscribing. I want to try and get to 10,000 subscribers. I've been your boy Kieran, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!